All right, trade pros, good morning. It is Friday, April the 12th of 2019. This is George from Trade Pro Academy, surrounded by my Trade Pro family over here, Azalea, Victorio eating a sandwich. You guys can't see him. And Mark just being Mark, which is a great thing. In today's morning market update, we got some big news to announce for you guys. Since we love you all, each and every one of you listening on our YouTube morning market updates, we figured, wouldn't it be nice if we could do something after the trading session and give you a little bit of an update of how we traded, a bit of a review, what happened in the markets, and then in addition to that, what we see for the rest of the afternoon to provide you additional coverage. And we're like, yeah, that would be great. And so we're like, but we'll do it later. No, I'm kidding. It's starting officially as of yesterday. Mark is going to be doing these midday updates. He's going to start. He started yesterday. He's going to do them every day, Monday to Thursday, Friday if there's some action, because Friday in the afternoon market slow down. That's a huge announcement. You guys now have 2 market updates per day. That's massive. I'm really excited. I want to thank Mark for taking this opportunity on, and you're going to hear a lot from him over the next couple weeks. And I'm hoping that this gets the same type of reaction as the morning market updates, because this is double the coverage for the same price, which is free. All right. So we love you guys. We hope you appreciate that. Comment below if you like the idea of an afternoon live update to recap markets and then set some levels for the afternoon. All right. So morning market fun fact for today is this. This is actually a pretty cool market fact. On this day in 1996, a little known company called Yahoo launched on the public market on the NASDAQ Composite Index. It sold 2.6 million shares at an initial price of $13 a share. All right, mutual funds and institutional investors couldn't get enough of this company. They were just piling onto it, but they were flipping the volume. Get this. Until the first day's trading volume hit 204.36 million shares, they kept buying, selling. These shares changed hands. Get this. The total float of the company changed hands 78 times on its first day of the IPO. That's pretty phenomenal. All right. And the stock finished with a 34% gain. In other news this morning, equity markets are pushing to intraday highs, and they've cleared some of the overhead resistance. I've been saying for a long time the stock market could head to new all-time highs, primarily the S&P 500. And I'm going to tell you this. Today's got a feeling of nachos. Nachos means new highs on the close. You read that out once? Nachos. So get the cheese out. I think the S&P 500 has the opportunity and potential to close on new all-time highs this Friday, April 12th. Right? I anticipate at some point next week, and I'll tell you why it's such a bid market at the moment, why there's so much interest to the upside. At 8 a.m., Wells Fargo reported quarterly earnings. So it's the earnings season, and these bank stocks come out first typically, and they give you an early look at the financial index and the financial sector. Wells Fargo reports first quarter earnings per share of $1.20 versus $1.08 expectation. Revenue $21.6 billion, beating by the expectation of $20.9 billion. On track to hit its fiscal 19 target. All right, return on assets 1.26% versus 1.09. Return on equity 12.71% versus 10.58 expected. All right, non-performing assets and charge-offs as a percentage of loans, basically loans they think they're not going to recover, below expectations, which is great. And provisions for credit losses marked a little bit higher. But overall, what this means is Wells Fargo had a great report. All right, solid bank report this morning, and it's helping infuse some life into the upside on the stock market. All right, at 6:47 before Wells Fargo, JP Morgan released earnings, and if Wells Fargo's weren't good enough, get this: JP Morgan comes out at $2.65 earnings per share, a beat of 232 expected. All right, revenue 29.8 billion versus 27.9 billion. Strong beat on revenue. All right, return on equity 16% versus 12% quarter over quarter. Corporate and investment banking down a little bit. However, average core loans increased by 5% year over year, 1% quarter over quarter, and total provisions marked up a little bit higher for losses as well. All in all, 2 banks, JP Morgan smashing earnings and Wells Fargo doing really good as well. All right. So in the morning, obviously around that same time as bank earnings came out, the stock market caught a little bit of a bid. In other news, overnight, China expanded their lending facilities and flooded the market with credit. All right. Credit gives people the availability to spend, to borrow, to grow. and to invest ultimately. There's a feeling out there that credit growth is a bad form of growth, and bad credit growth is a bad form of growth. But if you're using credit for positive things, and if you're earning a return outside the cost of your credit, for example, getting credit as a consumer to buy a depreciating vehicle like a S63 AMG, typically not seen as a good investment. But buying an investment property that's going to grow, that creates cash flow, all right, that's a great investment decision. All right. So I've made a good and a bad decision, and that's okay, because I get more value, not more value, I get enjoyment value today out of driving around in my car versus investment value in the future. You always got to make yourself happy in the moment as well. If you're not happy now, what's the future have in store, right? Anywho, so China floods the market with lending. That pushes asset valuations higher. Bank stocks come out this morning super positive. S&P 500 right now is just 29.1175. 29.47 is the all-time high. That's about 35 points. I see a little bit of a pullback in the morning, so sell off in equity markets, and then a push higher to and through potentially all-time highs. I'm not telling you it's going to get there guaranteed. I'm telling you there's a propensity that it wants to try some of those all-time highs. Where we closed yesterday on the S&P was 28.91 half. So we are about 20 points off of that open. Oil prices are getting a little bit of a bid as well, now selling back down. Because I was doing this morning market update, I missed my limit orders. I had a limit to sell 59.60 to bring them down to the 28 level. That would have been about $1,200. Oops. I mean, that's the value I bring to you guys. I missed the trade that I wanted to do this morning market update to you. You guys are important to me in my life, and I appreciate you all. All right. In other markets in Asia, Japan's up 0.7. Hong Kong's up 0.2%. China's flat. India's up 0.4. In Europe at midday, London's up 0.3%. Paris is up 0.3. Frankfurt's up 0.5%. U.S. futures up. Dow almost up 1%. S&P up 0.5%. Nasdaq up 0.5%. Crude oil up 1.5%. Traded up to 64.65. That's the overnight high that it marked heading into the pit session open. The pit opened at 64.58, 1 penny below my sell limits, and we're seeing a little bit of downside. Yesterday, crude sold off very violently. It was a sell day, and towards the afternoon, I found a great opportunity to get long at the 40 level. Ran it up to about the 60, and didn't want to hold any positions overnight. I usually don't, and I had a feeling I could have left 1 or 2 lots on. Would have taken virtually no risk for this whole upside. Here's what happened yesterday on crude. I feel like we were just going up too much, too fast, and we had to liquidate some downside inventory, right? We had a lot of long traders. The retail bus got crowded. Too many people started getting on the bus, and the professional money started to use that as an opportunity, that demand as an opportunity to push some supply off into the market and sell it and unload it onto those buyers. And as that happened, that pushed the downside. We wiped some stops. Now we're back to the upside. Crude's a bull, all right? Stay on the bullish side of crude oil. There's a little bit more upside. The big news yesterday was that OPEC's considering not renewing their production cut agreement. And in the early morning, I was like, this should be bearish news, and the crude doesn't care. And it eventually started to care. And that's the downside was attributed to that idea, that notion. Now, let's see where we go from here. It's punched a pretty significant level. There's going to be some overhead resistance. Look for early pullbacks on equities and on energy markets, followed by continuation rally in the late morning or the afternoon. All right. In economic news, 10 a.m., we have consumer sentiment. 1 p.m., we have the Baker Hughes rig count, which is going to be very important for the oil market. So if you're trading that, understand 1 p.m. There's going to be a little bit more volatility straight into the pit close at 2:30 p.m., all in Eastern times. That's the market today. Upside is rearing its head, and I think we got to look for dips to buy. Early on in the morning, you want to do a fade, go for it. Remember the rules for fades. They should usually be half size and profit quicker, because you don't want to be fading a move with the same amount of margin you would use to get long a move. Stay in the direction of the trend. Trading becomes super easy. When you're trading from the direction of the trend, sometimes even if you're sloppy on your entry, you can get away with it. If you're fading the trend and you're sloppy, it's a difference between making a couple of pennies on crude. I mean, when I say penny, dime, 15 cents, all right, and the difference in blowing out your account. Because if you're sloppy on execution on fading, it's going to cost you big. I often tell our traders at TRADEPRO Academy, save the fading strategy once you know how to properly ride a trend. Because if you don't know how to ride a trend, how will you know when to fade? right? Does that make sense? How will you know to sell a top for downside move or reversal if you don't know how far that trend is going to go to begin with? And that's the important part that I want to impart on you guys today. That's what we got for this morning market update. Remember, today at what time are you going, Marky? 12? Are we committing to 12 for? All right, so 12 p.m. today. Make sure you hit your notifications button in your subscription. That way you'll know right away. Mark will do a midday recap, look at the trades that we've done, how we've performed, all right, how our teams performed, and most importantly, what's to come for the rest of the afternoon. We're going to do one today because we're getting started, but the schedule is going to be Monday to Thursday, and then Friday if there's some kind of volatility event or there's something we need to say. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this extra coverage. Comment in the box below if you like the idea, and if we get 6 million comments, we'll do it. Perfect. All right, you guys take care. Have a great day. I want to wish you and your family an awesome weekend. Last day of the week. Let's close it out strong, and let's go out there and have some fun and unwind over the weekend. All right, I send you guys love, joy, and happiness. Appreciate you all for being here. You guys are all part of my extended family. Love spending time with you. Take care. Have a great day. Goodbye. All right, trade pros, S&P 500. I'm going to start off with that. I'm sure Boxman had a fade on oil because that was a great opportunity. Now we're down into the VWAPs. I would probably not be looking to fade anymore. We'll let Steven talk about that. I'm going to do S&P 500. We got a full house today. Victoria will do NASDAQ. Marky will do Dow Jones, and then we'll flip it over to our oil desk manager talking about oil. So let me start with some high probability levels for a long opportunity in today's session.